Hello and welcome to Shakey's Sports Journeys and Life on the Ground now that has been newly launched, and we've got some big things coming up. There's going to be some changes to the podcast as well, and things are just evolving constantly. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, simply by searching Shakey's Sports Journeys. So when I say we're evolving, we're now not just speaking to sports people. Recently had on an actress. I'm looking to speak to actors, musicians, politicians, all different type of people. But this chap that I have on today, for me, childhood friend, friend to this day, local hero. And we're going to talk about why he doesn't call himself a local hero, but I call him a local hero. Welcome to the show today, brother Rekz. Now that is his nickname. His name given to him by his dear parents is Rekz Afzaal. Welcome, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How you doing, everybody? You okay?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. All well for having you in a bright Sunday morning. I love the canvas in the background.
I'm actually sitting abroad, kidding on. Wouldn't want to be quarantining coming back, but just in my house, nice and relaxed here on a Sunday. I don't go to work on a Sunday. The service is closed, as they say, on a Sunday. So
good for you, man. We all need to. I'm sure your dear wife needs to be seeing you around as well. You're always out there in the front line doing a lot of great work. So it's important to have some downtime as well. What I want to do is get to know you today, brother. I know you, but I want the people watching to get to know you a lot more. So I'm going to take you a bit of a journey through memory lane. Starting with, tell me about your family background, your childhood, your upbringing.
So my upbringing largely has been in Scotland. I was 8 years old when I came here from Germany, born in Germany, in Münster. And my father reunited here with his siblings, who were all married here and had their homes here. So his, aspirations were always to come here to the UK and join up with his family. And ever since then, my upbringing largely here in Scotland has been, very notable. Back in Germany, it was a graft by my family, trying to find their feet, etc. And, we went to school there as well and had friends and family friends there in Germany who we still stay in touch with. But having that background coming from a country like Germany has been a big influence on me as well. I was able to, grow into someone with a wider perspective of things. Obviously, my mum and dad being from Pakistan and learning a lot through the short term, the 8 years in Germany, and then predominantly here, my childhood, going to language school to learn Scottish first of all, and then, going forward to go into primary school and secondary, and thereon college and university. Going into business early on, always in and out of business, because my family here, my father had gone into the shop trade like many Asians who migrated, South Asians that migrated from India and Pakistan, Bangladesh, etc., came here and set up shops. So my father went down the same line. He had some contacts here and was very successful until this day. We are in the shop trade in a very community-orientated environment, inside and outside the shops, a bit separate from what the system has imposed on shops these days, being chain stores, etc. We do things very organically and still independently. So yeah, that's what it is. Childhood for me really is Battlefield, stroke Mount Florida, Kings Park, etc.
Yeah.
Obviously, Shakey, I used to bump into you on Battlefield Road most of the time because you're just one street away, just looking over from that, that takeaway I used to get my burger and chips out of
Persepolis, that's the one, mate.
That's right. And for a while not using it, not knowing if it's halal or not, but that's another thing. In the end, when brothers started going there, we were like, nah, man, that's the place to go, because their food is amazing till this day. Yeah. But yeah, you were just across from there, and it's always been a great meeting with you. I mean, to be honest, you don't know this, but we used to look up to you because, you know, the name was always about, in cricketing terms, and how well you done. And that actually inspired me as well to go into cricket. And Willie Russell coming to the door and saying to me and Sherry to join up training us. That was a lot of our childhood. Was part of being in a Weir's cricket club, and then always looking at how well Clydesdale were performing. And all the Asian local boys as well, who we took to naturally, you know, knowing that, you know, who's who and what they're achieving. People, boys such as Sherry himself and Shahid Hanif and Ibrar Akram, who played for District Scotland. And I always used to be that little bit behind, because my determination wasn't there as much as what theirs was. I was always, you know, falling behind, being called Bam Bam, going in for a quick innings, you know, always making sure I had something on the scorecard anyway. But yeah, one time we faced off as well at Clydesdale. I think you guys gave us a heavy beating. And
I will never forget. I'll never forget that, because you boys were, let's just say, a bit rough around the edges.
Yeah.
It would come to like now we had a meet time for games at 5 o'clock in preparation for a 6 p.m. start. So we'd be there in our whites, Clydesdale boys, warming up, coaches taking us through our drills, and about 10 to 6, maybe 5 to 6, you would see a bunch of bags getting launched over the fence from the wrong side of the ground where you're not meant to come in from, and the noise would be coming from the likes of the people that you just mentioned, you know, likes of yourself, Sherry, Abra, Shahid, just coming in. All right, yeah, when's the game starting? And it was I remember at the time I'd be thinking, these boys are they're not taking this game seriously. But you know what, looking back, you absolutely were taking it seriously, but you weren't from a club at that point, or, you know, going through the system, that you would just turn up in your own time. It was like you were going to the park for a game of cricket. You loved the sport. And I look back at it with fond memories. You mentioned, obviously, growing up in Battlefield, we would spend a lot of weekend days, sunshine days, just running around, not really doing anything, to be honest, but just they're the memories, spending a lot of time outdoors. I think kids spend a bit too much time indoors now. You and your brother Sherry a little bit younger, but we had good times, man. We had good times. Battlefield's a good affluent area to grow up in.
Absolutely.
You mentioned Germany and stuff as well. Do you speak fluent German?
I actually understand it more than what I speak it. Unfortunately, we never continued speaking to one another in German. More about coming here and integrating and learning, you know, properly to get into, obviously get the schooling here. We went to a language school first, a language centre. I think it was Hillhead at the time. And then basically, you know, going into primary school, I was 1 year ahead in age to other school children when I went to Battlefield Primary. And that carried on all the way through secondary. It wasn't due to how, you know, clever I was or not. It was just because learning the language took me a year, and I had to kind of start off. It was like setting myself a year kind of, you know, back, so that I could develop with the children from around here. And I think that's been a blessing. That's one of the, you know, blessings in disguise, I would say. It's why I tend to interconnect with a lot of people from different age ranges, like be it an elderly, be it someone who's young. You know, they are interested in speaking to me, and me speaking to them and learning from them. Till this day, I've been one that absorbs things. It was my environment coming from Germany to here to absorb the language, absorb the environment, the people, my neighbours. Until this day, I'm just absorbing and trying to create change. Many influences, obviously. People, you know, legends of the former, people you would want to say, people who are celebrity status, proactive activists, obviously influenced me in doing what I do today. Went into the shops, obviously. Went up to second year of uni, had to drop out. My father, he was ill. He had, you know, some heart issues at the time. And me and my brothers, being blessed with you know, four more brothers and a little sister as well. We all decided that we'll look after the bread and butter of the family, which was the shops, and what my father worked hard for. And, you know, obviously God, Allah provides, so no one needs to worry about where they'll get food from, etc. But my father, you know, as they say, was the provider of the house, you know, and the thing is that we had to safeguard that. We couldn't let that just go, and we took a break from our career paths, what we were doing. I was doing marketing, advertising, a bit of business, a bit of drama, a bit of you know, obviously cricket and stuff like that. So my career path could have gone any other way. But I went into the shops, and today it's actually a community hub, and it's not just a normal convenience store. I've put my own you know, aspirations to it, my own spin to how to bring people together and tackle some social issues out there that exist. And I've been placed in I never chose to work in Paisley. That's where one of the shops were, and that's the one I looked after. And it's an area that suffers a lot of deprivation, so it was the perfect environment for me to start you know, applying myself to with what I've got in terms of what I've absorbed, all this key information and knowledge from area to area, battlefield, then going to Shawlands Academy. You know, everything was so street. Everything was just so, you know, be it, you know, people used to be in, you know, gang fights in secondary school, or be it, you know, us getting our whites on for cricket, you know. You know, cricket is a gentleman's sport as well, you know, and we had that street mentality on field as well. And I remember it was just, you know, the way that classical Pakistani cricket team, especially I think, what was his name, Moin, the wicketkeeper, he used to always, you could just hear him all the time. Never mind the sound these days that everything gets picked up. You could hear the guy from miles away, and we were the same. We were just always talking to one another, like, you know, the ball was in the air for a split second, catch it! Do you know what I mean? It'd be amazing. And Ibby was the loudest man, but the guy used to get some good results out of us as well. I mean, look where we are today. My brother still plays cricket. He does very, very well. Really,
they were due to come back into the Premier Division this year after, you know, long time. Obviously, sadly, the pandemic hit, but they're still due to come in. If sport manages to come back, they'll be playing Premier Division. So it's brilliant. You obviously, I think you tried to make a comeback. I was there for a brief time recently. You tried to make a comeback, but it's very, very difficult with the commitment that you have. But let's talk about the shop, the community hub that you have built there. It's called RSA.
RSA, yeah.
You can find it on, is it Gilmore Street?
It's near Gilmore Street train station. So if anybody was commuting through there, just take one corner to the right and you're on Moss Street, and that's where it is, number 27B Moss Street in Paisley Town Centre. RSA, it's a convenience store. The fascia of it is a convenience store. When you come in, you will realise that it's, you know, just looks like a convenience store, and that's the beauty of it. Didn't have to change much. When we are helping people who are in hardship, they come in and there's no stigma at all when they come in. They're dealing with people who have got experience in shopkeeping, obviously being customer service at a high level, people skills before customer service, and when they're getting served and being helped out, they never ever feel as if, you know, they have to feel embarrassed or bump into someone that they might know who may know why they're in for and what help they're trying to get. So yeah, it's RSA. We offer the community fridge and community cabinet services. We signpost people to other relatable services that can help people out of hardship. We help them with their benefits, you know, applications, and try our best to find jobs and leads for them to get them bouncing back in life. Be it students that you're dealing with, people who have lost their job. This is me talking pre-coronavirus days. Today, everything's much more high in demand, the services that I run. You know, it's five, six-fold up in people trying to get helped. We offer fresh food through the community fridge in comparison to food banks and their model of practice. It's giving people a healthier alternative. And obviously, if you eat better, you've got more chance of thinking better, being more alert and doing or maybe acting in the right ways due to the energy levels that you have in you. We're focusing on the little details, which are actually very large when it comes to a person. They mean a lot to them, be it their privacy being protected, how they feel when they come in. It's a service with great dignity, and we continue to make moves with this and evolving it. It changes month on month due to things changing out there and people coming in for help, dropping off for help because they find a solution. Some application takes 4 to 6 weeks for them to get the first help from the welfare state. And we're here at its core being the private sector and trying to tackle social issues from the private sector. Now, I understand that there are big companies out there who are in the private sector also. They pay millions of pounds to have great community marketing done. And what we do is as small businesses in the private sector, being the little men trying to practice having large hearts, make sure that we can offer a bit of space, non-for-profit, making sure that people come in and we give back to the community because they keep us afloat as well, especially through these times. Trade is low as well in town centre spots. There are scheme corner shops that have houses surrounding them and people repeatedly pop out their house to use them. They're doing quite well, as I'm hearing, but town centre shops are struggling because all of the businesses are closed where we mainly get our trade from, the staff, their customers that use us, the commuters through the town, they're missing. So at the moment through the pandemic and for the last 11 months, it's been more so not just about our survival, it's been about the survival of many people who have lost their jobs. There's specific stories. There's one of a good friend now who has been a regular customer for over the years, was a chef for 30 years in one company and had to be laid off due to the pandemic. That's obviously businesses out there, they've got their protective measures as well when it comes to not just safety of people, but how their business is going, how they're going to sustain their business, etc. So it's understandable they have to let people go, but the effects and the reality of the pandemic and its effects is that people who have served for 30 years in their workplace are being let go, and now they're having to use certain services out there as well. This specific friend that I spoke about, he doesn't use the service that I offer because he's still okay and he's worked so long in his life and had been very sensible about things. But then there are people who used to spend 30, 40 pounds a week in the shop and freely never being in the position of having to reach out for help or having to use the services that we run now. And they find that it's more effective than the food bank because they don't bump into people that they might know. And even if they do, it's a case of the person they've bumped into not knowing why they're in the shop. Obviously, at its disposition, they're in the shop to obviously buy something, not to use the food service there. So their privacy is protected once again. Yeah, so that's what we do at its heart. Obviously signpost people to services, bettering their lives, giving them a chance. Many people contemplate, through, you've been covering a lot of, and I'm proud to say this, Cassim, I love you, man, as a brother. What you've achieved, bro, in terms of creating awareness. Yeah, absolutely, man. Creating awareness on mental health, people going through things. Why is it that, for example, I've turned around and done this? It was a pilot thing. I wanted to do it, be a community worker at heart. At the age of 15, 16, I was doing some community work in Govan Hill, Southside, and it was for Future Visions Youth Action Group. We used to do plays, drama around primary schools, promoting a message of multi-faith, anti-racism, and we erected a sign in parks in Govan Hill and certain areas of stop prejudice and celebrate diversity, he used to say. Not sure if they're still there. And this was, why I always wanted to do community work, because I really enjoyed it. and it made a difference to many lives. But what you're doing is creating such awareness through great personalities, people of achievement in different fields, actors, actresses, sports people, and now you're talking to real people who are just out there having to get about more relevantly so their survival today, as well as, you know, if it's people like myself, who are many of, who are trying to make a difference, you know, we're thinking about the survival of our communities. This stems from mainly the inspiration of what our faith gives us, the beautiful faith of Islam, and our Abrahamic, you know, brothers and sisters who follow their Abrahamic faith, who have all, you know, the similar and the same beliefs at its core. We are here to reach common ground and realize similitude, and understand that we can all come together as a collective, and always remembering one thing, and I say this very clearly, that whatever the media, for example, portrays, mainstream, MSM, it's a case of knowing that that's not reality. Just simple as that. That's a statement I make. It's not reality. Times are always moving ahead. Things are always changing and evolving. A perspective can be illustrated, but it doesn't have to be, you know, what it is at its truth. We need to understand that we can come together, create mass impact, mass positivity. So what I'm using as my premises today in the private sector as a small business to create mass change, affecting over 150 people every week, helping them out, and repeat, you know, people who come in to use the service on the second week, third week, fourth week. It's to plug the gap. The welfare system isn't, you know, hasn't got all the answers. They do help, of course they do, but you know, people lack money management skills. Some people get affected by trauma, you know, dark moments in their life. They don't know how to, you know, put their money in places properly, or spend wisely. So what happens is, you know, they suffer, and then they have to seek help. And some of them are not built that way, and they've got pride. And before you know it, they are self-harming. They are doing things which, you know, they don't deserve. And it's our responsibility. Whoever's got life going for them, it's their responsibility to look around and go, hold on a second, what would it be like to live life alone? If you are in your own bubble and everything's working out for you, you know, why are you turning around and not looking at the people, you know, who are struggling, you know, directly around you? And ask people, you know, in Islam, it says even smiling at someone is charity, you know, it makes the heart warm, you know, it opens them up, it creates happiness in them. Maybe that's a reason for them to bounce back and go, you know, strike a conversation, you know, ask you, hello, how you doing? Imagine these things were missing in life, you know, where people weren't asking you, hello, how you doing? You know, it'd be sad. It'd be, even for the person who's got everything going, you know, there'd be a great deficit. There'd be something missing. So here we are trying to promote, you know, faith through practice. We are not, and nobody ever will be perfect. You know, and we need to create examples. We need to be exemplary. Our parents, you know, our culture here is Scottish. We are here in Scotland, but we do have great factors within. You know, people talk about genetics. You know, we are South Asians as well at heart, and we've got culture that comes from there, and great things to take from there as well, and you know, educate people. You know, whatever would work for them here. You know, it's a great thing about interconnectivity, about integrating. They asked us to integrate, you know. So today we are asking, you know, people to integrate within great morality, come back and understand the core purpose of life, which is really, you know, at its heart to, you know, harm nobody, help people, you know, and do the best that you can, you know, obviously being respectful to absolutely everyone, be it elderly, be it young people. Understand the level that they're at. What you know today, somebody else may not know. You know.
You know, I'm listening away to you there, and you've made a lot of very good points. You've touched on a lot of very important subjects, and I want to just tell a little story here. I actually posted about this on my social media platforms. not so long ago, so some of you may have seen it. I wandered down to pick up some necessities within a 5 mile radius to my dear brother's shop, and also to pay my respects because sadly, brother Rex and the rest of the family recently lost their mother, dear auntie, only a couple of months ago. So I was meaning to pay my respects. So I popped in, and while I was there, I had my daughter with me. I knew what Rex done. I knew he helped people locally, but I'd never seen it firsthand. I didn't know the power of it. And two gentlemen walked into the shop while I was there. One chap had asked if you're Rex. It was his first visit to the shop. Rex responded, yes, that's me. He said, I've been asked to come here. I'm homeless. I haven't eaten for numerous days. And honestly, it was one of the most powerful things I've ever seen. I don't, the small things in life, charity, giving back. Rex came out from behind the counter, came out, took a bag, filled the bag up. Now, he mentioned that they provide fresh food. Now, the stuff that he was putting in this bag were not cheap products. There was protein bars going in there, proper juices going in there, fruit going in there, and some ready-made meals as well. The bag was filled to the brim. It must have been easily £10 plus worth of food, maybe more. And he handed the bag over to the chap and then started to speak to him. It wasn't just a matter of here's your food, off you go. He asked him what's going on. The guy got emotional at this point and said that, I've been homeless for quite a while now. So Rex told him, like, you need to told him of a couple of shelters that he had to go to, and said, look, you need to get yourself benefits in place. I can help you with that. You can come back. I'll get an application form sorted for you, and then I'll help you fill that application form out. The guy just broke down and started crying, but it was tears of like, he felt loved. Somebody actually gave a toss about him. He's probably been out in the street for the last week or so, and no people have just been walking by, getting on with their lives. And here's Rex handing him this bag of food that would have fed him for a good couple of days, I would have thought. And as well as that, then told him that you can bounce back in life. Get this benefit in place, get a roof over your head. Then how old are you? I'm 30 years old. Right, okay, you've still got time. You can go to college. You can do something with yourself. And I was just, I was holding back the tears, to be honest, because I was just amazed by this friend of mine is doing. This is the kind of thing that he's doing. Now, I'm not telling this story to I know he's a humble guy, but it's to raise awareness that we can all do a bit of this. I mean, we all see a couple. I mean, not so much in other areas, but when we're in the city centre and life goes back to normal, how many homeless people do you see in the city centre? What harm is there in filling a bag of clothes up, something that you don't really use? How many clothes do we have in the house that we don't use? Giving somebody some warm clothes, or filling a bag of food up. We spend 10, 15, 20 pounds on ourselves on carryouts and, going to restaurants and whatnot. Feed somebody, make it your life mission to once a week, feed somebody in need. It goes a long way. And I just wanted to share that story because it was so powerful to witness that. I got to see firsthand. It wasn't staged, it was just happened to be. And these people come into Rex's shop all the time. I just happened to be there and got to see firsthand this powerful moment. And when they left the shop, I said, "Oh wow, now I really understand what it is that you're doing. I see your posts and stuff, but you like a post, you maybe don't really know the power of it. And for a boy who's working in a shop in Paisley, what he has built there actually led, brother, to you being acknowledged for your efforts. Not so long ago, you got the waistcoat on, you got the suit jacket on, you didn't have your cap on back to front, you had your hair all nicely done. Tell me about that acknowledgement, what it was for.
So basically, first of all, let me say that it's not just my efforts alone. Although, I have to make sure that this is always mentioned, that yes, it's my premises, I conduct the service and manage it, I've innovated it, evolved, influenced it. The thing is that steering it is one way, but when people, supply it with this fresh food, such as M&S, Tesco, you've got Morrison's doing great things. You've got the Eat Up charity, which was formed 2 years ago, solely, dealing with the transportation of surplus food, long dated, some short dated, but perfectly edible. We are, on one side, it's about zero waste as well, but more so about the survival of our communities. The thing is that we're affecting now 4 council areas. The Eat Up charity have just got into 2 other council areas as well. We're doing Glasgow as well through the Eat Up charity. Now, the acknowledgement, the recognition was from the Lord Provost of Renfrewshire. It was Lorraine Cameron. The House of Commons has also written to us, representatives there. And it was a case of, being invited to the town hall to be given a certificate of distinction to, collect and speak there about, things. Not that I spoke much at all. It was more so, Lorraine Cameron, such a wonderful lady, saying such amazing things about the service that was being provided, the lives that have been affected, the letters that have been written in, and, the accounts that have been, given over, testimonies of all. Lives are being affected, efforts are being made collectively by a lot of people right across the board, members of the community, conscious people, other local smaller food businesses that are community conscious. They're given their, items that are not selling on the day, making sure that it's coming to us so that we can redistribute it back out. So it's a great network that's established. So everybody can be, feeling that they're making a difference through this. Again, these things, a certificate of distinction, or it being recognised, or awards or medals as such that people get. To me, obviously, I would only, like to say that it's about creating awareness about the service. And if it is that what it takes to go to these events and collect these things and speak with people who are higher up, then we will have to do that and knock on their door. Now, for me, I don't need anything. If people are, bettering themselves, get the help that they need to bounce back in life, that's way more to me than, receiving any sort of acknowledgement for the work. This work was laid out by our faith, that we do this, help the people who are struggling, the poor. Yeah, we are in I think the 6th or 8th richest country in the world, but we have communities suffering here. And let's be quite clear that the system is failing. Yes, we're in a pandemic, but we're talking about this service being established, nearly 4 years ago. And it was to deal with the uncertainty of universal credit that had come about, giving people advance payments. And then again, these people that don't have money management skills, they would have to, get cuts to their payments the following month, etc., and would be left short. But the pandemic, again, having people use the service, people who never ever used anything as such before in their life. So again, these things are there as a way of myself creating awareness of the service, going up there, be it a newspaper that writes about it or a radio station that talks about it. It has, its impact, and I will use that to go forward and create awareness of the service. My main motive is that other smaller businesses in the private sector, such as convenience stores or anybody, can set up a service out there for their own community that they serve. Now, we need to also understand is that, when somebody gets a benefit pay, they may not have the transport, their own car to go to a supermarket to do a weekly shop, or they, even if they go to a supermarket, they have to go on a bus or a train and then maybe carry a week's shopping, expecting them to do that is I don't think that many of them would do that. So they use these small shops that you find littered on every single street, small convenience stores. Now, what that means to small businesses is that they actually, much respect to them, choose us to buy things from us. So what are they doing? They're keeping us afloat. So isn't it our responsibility to make sure that the people that struggle in our community are also looked after? And businesses need to basically stop, being, when they become part of a chain, be it like, Premier or, whatever, you need to stop thinking about largely being consumed by the system. Yeah, do everything that you need to do, but think with a human approach. Think about what you can do that is not orientated around profit all the time. Because what people don't understand is there is an unseen element, like certain things like, they say the human eye can't see everything. There's certain things that the heart, needs as well. Your mind needs as well, your spirit needs, and your soul needs. Is these acts, this, actively getting up, going outside, going about your routine is one thing, but making sure that you're creating a difference is what my main achievement to myself is, to make sure that caters for my mental health. I've been through trauma, dark days, heartbreak, really, really, everybody will as well. Everyone will go through something that will affect them, change them in life. And this was my way of dealing with things, to be proactive. And that to me is the biggest achievement of all. When somebody, for example, a student came in, used it for a while, got their student support through, then came back and said, got a part-time job, and they actually spent £5 of their own money in a bargain store, brought stuff in for the service to pay it forward, So there are people that, they use it as a stepping stone, some people need that stepping stone, and we're here to provide it. It's not entirely as judgmental as other services out there. If somebody comes in the door and doesn't know the procedure, we will still send them away with food because we don't want to miss anybody, or we'll explain to them that we will need something from them, such as a DWP letter, or to see them log into their universal credit portal to understand that they are, people that get help already from the state, a state that runs a strenuous test to get them, financial support in the first place. And for us to understand that they already go through that anyway, that means that they are people that are entitled to, further assistance as well. But yeah, this is what that is. We've got a great network. People keep working in tandem. And, I ask for other shopkeepers out there to think outside the box. We are looked at community hubs. This is a community hub that I'm running, a convenience store with a lot of, services for the community. But you can also set something up, be it just a little cupboard. If you're worried about a fridge and its electrical consumption, if you're worried about related costs, it doesn't need to be as complicated. You just need to, and it's, to be honest, it's not complicated at all. You guys deal with food, you guys, stock rotate all the time. You guys have got the best people skills in the country. And I urge you to do things for people who are struggling, especially in this pandemic, and let's get together and be a force for good, and practice our, faith at its core, and set a good example, because, it's amazing. It's amazing the kind of thing that people think through the media's eye, or narrative about us or our faith is, one thing, but then people who you meet on a one-to-one basis, they're telling you how important you are is another. So it's just the total polar opposite. So I would like to just basically say thanks very much to everyone that has taken these points on board. Mainly so, it is for the sake of, serving with example, for the sake of our parents, how they have raised us. May Allah grant my mother a high rank in Jannah al-Firdaus, and protect everybody, every parent out there. And let's just work together. And Qasim, we're now, I'm 36 now.
So am I, mate. Thanks for reminding me. But the years are flying by.
Yeah, absolutely. We're young adults. We can make change. We've got the resources. We've got the means to do so. We've got the intellect to do so. Just intertwine that mind and heart, emotional intellect, and we'll be all right. We know people will benefit.
It's been really, really powerful to talk to you today. You have touched on so many different subjects that I think will connect with many. But what I hope comes out of this more than anything is for people to remember that humanity does exist, and the pleasure that humanity can give a person, giving something to somebody that's going to help them. There's no better feeling. There needs to be more of it in this world that we live in. If you're comfortable, that's good. Be humble, appreciate it, because you really don't know what's around the corner. This pandemic has most certainly taught us all of that. I lost my job at the start of the pandemic. I found myself unemployed. It's life can change in the blink of an eye. So when you see that person who's struggling, just remember that that could quite easily be you. And I think sometimes people forget that that person sitting on the side of the road, he's no lower than you. He's a human being who, when you actually sometimes take time to talk to some of these people, they've actually had success in their life. They've done things that have been successful. It just happens to be that they've gone through bumpy moments in their life. So don't judge them. Don't judge, because judging's a dangerous road to go down. The message has been really clear here today. It'd be great to see more shops take on the initiative that Brother Rekz runs. I would like anybody out there who wants to donate or to help the food bank. It's in the local, as we mentioned at the start, Paisley area. He does so much for the Paisley area, which is an area that I think has its struggles. I see a lot of people struggling in Paisley. I've spent a lot of time playing cricket in Paisley. There are areas around, and even when I visited the city centre, that you can see there's a lot of homeless people, etc. And this, it's sad to see. So let's all take a good positive message out of this. Ultimately, that's what we're here to do: spread positivity. People be encouraged to help others, which there is many out there that do, but it'd be great to see even more do so, and it might make less poverty in front of our eyes, and see more people be successful. And this guy obviously has I've seen it firsthand, helping a young man come into the shop. Inshallah, I say, God willing, this young man, I'm sure he will stay in touch with him, and hopefully in a year or two's time, we will see a difference in this young man. He'll be in college, he'll be doing something back with his life, and that is what this is all about. I'm proud of you, brother. When you were a cheeky little rascal back in the day when we'd be running around, I never knew what you were destined to go on and do. But you really inspired me, and you say that you're inspired by me. I've been following your stuff that you do in the local area way before I launched this podcast. So you were a massive inspiration towards what I chose to do. I wanted to help other people. I speak openly about mental health. I want to connect with as many people as possible. So I appreciate it. I'm always here if you need me for anything. And you look after yourself and keep
Thanks,
up
bro.
the work. And I look forward to seeing you go to higher places where you can really, really make change.
This is a high place. We've got a platform. We're already, in our position, because this is our natural, point where we need to be. And from this point, you can do way more than what any job outline that's imposed on you tomorrow. Whatever you get into tomorrow, something maybe you have to work for someone else or have to stay within parameters. But today, whatever you're doing and what you enjoy, make most of that. Because see, with that's great power. That was your power, your origin. So let's work with that. I love your top, bro. I want one.
I'll sort one out for you, man. I'll sort one out for you. This is newly given to me by a friend of mine, Rennie Keith, who I played with at Clydesdale Cricket Club for many years. So his company is PSL Team Sports, and as you can see, we have the Shaky Sports Journeys. I'll get one sorted for you, brother. And
I'll be wearing that too.
With you on it.
You'll probably look
better than I do in it.
I'll promote your podcast as well, my man.
Thank you very much, brother.
The change you're making right now with having everybody on, it's again bringing people together of great influence, and continue doing that, because honestly, there's no better host than you, Kasim. You're something.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Allah Hafiz.
Assalamu alaikum.